Welcome to another day where we just got back from the Home Depot. Yeah, look at this beauty. Lots of money here. We had to pick up a couple things, and in the process we thought, you know, started this whole thing, we might as well do what we can while we can. And it also helps clean up things, because if I get these cut out and positioned right and extended the way they need to be, then I can take them downstairs and they can wait for upholstery when they're ready, and they can get the hell out of my garage. So that's kind of the plan today. I'm actually work on my trim pieces here, or what did we decide on? My accent pieces. I don't know, I bought a couple more pieces of oak trim here. I may modify the two triangles, I'm not sure yet. It's just kind of a up in the air kind of day. Got my last bolt for my dash pad. Anything else that shows up or comes in or I can find, I'm going to install. And that's pretty much what I'm going to do until I can do other things, bigger things, more powerful things. But yeah, I mean, the controllers and stuff like that, all the electrical stuff, some of it's supposed to show today. Who knows? Like I said before, I've gotten deliveries here at 10:30 at night, so you never know that's going to happen. But I do have this in front of me. I know it's coming down the road, and it's not necessarily something you should be really fooling with on a beautiful day like today. But at the same time, when it's done and it's cold as crap out here, and I don't have to put on 14 layers of clothes to come out and cut out some backers for some upholstery work that I can do over the winter, it'll be a big plus. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I'm telling you, if you're doing this kind of stuff and you don't have a stack of patio blocks around your house somewhere, or your garage or shop or whatever it may be, you're really missing out on something, because they can be used for so much stuff. I don't know how many times I've run around the garage looking for weight to put on something. Here, pick up that toolbox, pick up this, grab that alternator, whatever it happens to be. You got a few patio blocks, it's like bam. And as I said before, you can actually park your boat on them or make a patio out of them. But that's what we've done. As you can see, the other one is quite warped and twisted and out of shape. You get it on the wood itself, get it on a nice straight edge, because that's what I'm going to use the bottom. I'm going to use the factory edge, and weight it down to where it's nice and flat all the way across. That way you don't have to worry about, well, I stepping on this one, or I tack it down and it pulled up from here or there. Nope, you're done. And I also got the end pieces, which I don't want to step on because I think I actually got them right. As you can see, it actually extends beyond the 8 foot, because they took this and chopped off what they didn't need. As I said, it's like 9.5, 9.6 long or something like that. It's not actually 10 feet, but it is longer than the actual 8 foot board, so we will have to put another piece on eventually here. But yeah, look at that. Nice flat board, nice easy thing to trace out. That's a nice thing. But I'm going to go ahead and get some marks put down, and then I'll have to do this one over here the same way. And then it'll be time to cut them out. Well, the patterns helped, I'll say that. But they're not the end all be all. Over here, fitting in the bolsters, yeah, a little bit of here, a little bit of there. I guess maybe it's swelled up or rotted up a little bit on the edges, and who knows what. And of course, you know, when they were doing the upholstery, they just, oh yeah, shove some more padding up in there, it'll be fine. So, but one side is up. I do have some lines to kind of trim off here. Yeah, that's a little proud on some edges, so just put our mark there, and we'll take out our belt sander and take them right off. And of course, we then had to add, I'm not going to get it perfect here, but you know, you can take get the idea of that's how that goes. And now it actually has to be attached to the plywood. See, that's how far right there, how that far that was off, which we'll be fixing that, no big deal. As I said, it was just a pattern. And I should have probably left it all proud, to be honest, and just kind of put it in and took the bottom piece and maybe made it an inch proud and just traced it all out all the way around. But it's easy enough to work with. The holes are all matching up, which that's a plus. This one really looked really screwy until I got all of the bolts in, and then all of a sudden it just kind of like peaked right up and even had a little bit of extra to fool with. So, but I'm going to work on this one next and see if I can get this one done also. Well, here we are under the dash. A little different than what we were doing, but our distribution block came in. Everything's all nice and hooked up now. And it's a shame it's about 2 minutes before it's going to be dark here, so I can't do much of anything else. But I did work on the panels a little more. So yeah, I went ahead and I got my pieces pegged together with some finishing nails, and went ahead and fiberglassed this side. Got a couple layers on that, and a little bit around here. I only needed a little sliver, but I had to, you know, you can't just put on a sliver of wood, so I'm going to put on a bigger piece. We're going to fiberglass it, and then I'm going to curve it back down the way it should be. I don't know. I guess the patterns were off, like I said. Either that or they stuffed a lot of foam and such inside of it and just made it bigger. But mine will be done, and then they'll be installed months later. So I won't know. I won't be able to like, oh yeah, just take it apart here and let's stuff some more pad in it. And it's a little late for that at that point. So I need my blanks to be exactly what they need to be. So I've got my pieces on the ends, and as I said, it's getting quite dark, so I am pretty much done for the evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Welcome to another day. Yeah, we got a couple things in, but it's nothing to complete anything. And what I mean by that is basically we got the steering hub in, but we didn't actually get the steering wheel or anything that goes with it in. So we're kind of stuck. We do have these to play with though. Our bolster backer boards. I'll say that 3 times. Yeah, we have extended them yesterday. Went ahead and put a couple layers of chop strand on the actual seams themselves. After I grounded out a nice little channel there, I'm going to go ahead and buff it off with my disc grinder. It's nothing important really, just want to make sure there's no real lumps of fiberglass sticking out anywhere. And then I'll need to basically flip them over and do the backside so they don't fold in like a bookend or anything like that or something stupid. I'm pretty sure that glass would be fine on it, but you know, we're here, we might as well do it. And then I need to get in the boat here and find a new line on this here. As I said, the pattern was the pattern. I don't understand the deal with it. It's just they must have like loaded it up with padding or something, and I don't know what happened there, but it is definitely short. So like I said, I'll go ahead and I'll just get new lines on that, get that one sanded out, and these boards will be ready to go to the basement. Got our fiberglass areas all nice and sanded down, nice and smooth. I shouldn't say, or I should say flat. Not really smooth, but it doesn't really matter anyway. We got this piece all done, and then I took it in the boat and shaped it back down to the right size. So it's right now, which is odd because I put both of these side by side out of curiosity. That one's actually bigger than this one. I don't get it. But that's the way it was. We're going to put it back the way it was. I don't think it was a big deal one way or another. I mean, we're only talking about, I don't know, worst case scenario, 3/8 of an inch. Don't really think you're going to be able to tell from one side to the other if there is a difference. Or is the boat different shaped? I don't know. I don't know. But either way, went ahead and water sealed everything. Thomas's water sealed every piece inside and out. Did my dashboard over again. And in the process, I've kind of gotten a little sidetracked here. Yeah, where did that bolster come from? Well, that bad boy came right out of my 19. I went over to look at something on the 19 the other day, and I noticed that something had broken loose. And it was some wiring that was running along this gunnel, or on this case, it would be this side. And it was just all those plastic hangers. You know, after so many years, they just tend to fall apart. And one of the reasons why I went with stainless steel in this boat, these guys will never fall down ever again. So I went over there to look at something and noticed that one thing was broken, and as I started to fix the one thing, I noticed that that bolt right there on this bolster pad had pulled through, and this one was just totally missing its nut washer and everything. It just came right off, so the whole end of the bolster was kind of loose. The only reason it's probably like that, and I'll be honest with you, it's because of laziness. When people get in and out of the boat, 99 times out of 100, it's on this side and they step right here. Instead of onto the seat or what have you, they always step right here and they push down. Of course, you know, your foot wraps around that a little bit. Even with bare feet on, you'll wrap around it and you'll push down on the bolster, which is right here. In which case that pushed it down and caused it to loosen up, and then once the bolt came loose, it started to pull that one actually through the whole front of the board itself. So that's all fixed. I did not have the opportunity to paint this whole side, so of course now I whipped out my Rust-Oleum secret formula of 1 part almond to 4 parts white, and went ahead and painted all this, and as you can see, it even matches up after who knows how many years, 10, 12 years it's been. Yeah, it's close enough. I mean, I bet under direct sunlight you'd probably be able to notice a little bit of something, but you know, whatever. You're not going to be able to see it anyway because it's all up underneath the bolster. So I'm waiting for my paint to dry on it, and I've got some wire loom out to put that in wire looms. It's all this stuff I didn't have, you know, years and years ago. Now I got it all. And then I'm going to have to put this bolster back in before it gets dark. Yeah, I may have bitten off a little more than I can chew, but either way, it's got to happen. As I said before, I mean, I've really put off a lot of things this summer and fall to do this boat. And I mean, a lot of things. I mean, I have $750 worth of intakes that go on the race boat. They're sitting right there. Been there since last Christmas. Yeah. And I was thinking about it just a little while ago, and I'm a bit disappointed on what I did and didn't get done this year. I never thought I'd even be close to this far in this boat. I really didn't. I figured we'd get to a certain point and then we'd just be leaving it sit all winter, and we'd be doing a lot of winter projects, and then next spring we'd have to come out and probably paint it and do a whole bunch of other things. Well, that's all done now. So, I mean, it helped out a lot next year. I mean, it's pretty much going to leave me pretty much next year wide open, but this year it just absolutely killed it. And then you add in the super high prices on gas. You know, we've got the CV going around, so there's a lot of things that aren't open, and people aren't as friendly as they were out on the water. You know, you used to get an invite, hey, come on over, have a drink or something, you know. No more. Got a few more things to do before I can call it a night. It's dark. Yeah, I may have bitten off a little more than I can chew on my boy over here, fixing that bolster today. Ah, well, we'll just have to finish that tomorrow because I didn't get it nearly done. I did get it back in the boat, but, you know, that's about as far as it went. So, we'll have to continue this mission on tomorrow because at the moment, we don't have no more damn sunlight. And they'll give our bolsters, backers, I guess, a few hours, 18 hours to dry up before we go ahead and start putting the bolts in them. And I can finish up the other 19 project tomorrow. The other 19. Yeah. Alright, I'll see y'all. Welcome to another day. I gotta say, sometimes having patience pays off. I was having a hell of a time last night getting this bolster lined up, what have you. And first it was the hangers that were a real problem. Try to get up underneath of there. I mean, it was so much easier having them bolts come through. All you had to do is put the hanger on it, tighten the nut down. Up underneath it here, yeah, you got to drive a screw into the existing wood, which, as I said, is only about yay thick. Yeah, and it's 50 some odd years old also. Can be a bit trying. So I was getting a bit frustrated. It was getting dark and I was having issues, in which case it just became a big mess. Today I come out, 2 minutes, I've got it lined up. Another 10-15 minutes, I've actually got it reinstalled. But as I was looking around here, it kind of dawned on me, you know, recently I've had more revelations about these differences in these two boats. They are not identical twins by a long shot. And I know I've brought this up before, but it is pretty obvious in this situation here. And one of the things I'll point out is if you look up here between these two seats, you will see where like an elongated triangle starts, and that's where the hull basically pitches up a little harder there, so the deck has to, you know, come up short and actually pitch upward. Well, that is approximately 9 inches from the dashboard. Now when you look at this one over here, it's a little hard to see in the sun, but that triangle comes all the way back to here, and that's about 6 feet from the dashboard. So that's one big difference. And as you can see up there, instead of it being just a 3 or 4 inch drop, it is now like an 8 or 9 inch drop. There's number one. And what it did, and it's changing, because I believe this is actually the inner liner and the hull shape for the inboard, and that's why it has that box there like that. Yeah, that was probably for the jack shaft and the V drive. So they used the actual inner liner from the original inboard 19s. But what it did also is it changed the shape of the dashboard. Because this deck is lower than my deck, it actually made the dashboard go like a little bit of a frown, you know, kind of like that. Now if you look at my dashboard, of course the seats are kind of in the way, but you'll see mine don't make that frown. The top makes the arc, but the bottom does not. It reached the deepest point is underneath the tack, which is the center point, and from there it goes up instead of down like the frown on the other one. And that's because this deck is higher, and if you did the frown, you'd have a hard time getting your legs underneath of the deck. So it would be a real problem. But the reason I'm bringing all this up is I do have to build this motor box. And it has now gotten me thinking that this motor box is probably going to be short. So I'll have to keep that in mind when I'm actually building it. Of course I'm going to put it in the boat before I ever even, you know, take a mold off of it. I'm going to find out exactly how it does fit. And I'd hate for it to be an inch short or, you know, something stupid and go ahead and build a mold and then have to try to modify it. But just some obvious things. I mean, there's really is big differences in these boats just because of minor changes. As I said, that deck being 3 or 4 inches higher now changes everything. It changes the dashboard shape, changes the way you seat. Like I said, now I'm gonna have to think about the fact that, and I have mine actually, they sit on, I think it's Cadillac Escalade runners. I've just kind of dipped the feet in rubber, you know, that liquid rubber you buy for like your tools and stuff. I just actually took the whole bracket and dipped the feet right into the rubber and put them down with stainless steel lag bolts, and I've never seen any rust from them ever. So, but they're real nice. They slide real nice. They're adjustable. I mean, my wife has long legs. My kids like to sit right up towards the dash. You know, when they were younger, it was nice to be able to slide it back and forth. We're not big water skiers. I mean, if you're going to do some water skiing, somebody may actually have to come back and sit here and turn around. So, but, you know, I may have to do something with these seats. I'm not sure. Because if they sit that low with the brackets like that, they may sit a little too low, to be honest. I may have to figure a way of actually raising them up an inch or two. But that's something that's easily solved by just ingenuity and brawn. As for this one, well, I gotta say, I'm on a little boat envy right now. And everything being brand new, you know, that's boat envy there, baby. It's got nicer gauges than mine. It's got brand new steering. Mine's probably hodgepodge together over time. It's gonna have a brand new controller. Mine was bought off of eBay. As I said, I'm missing a center cap off of it. Been looking. I made one. It don't look bad, so. But yeah, everything will be new on this one. Boat envy, boat envy. But to ever get this one even close to this one, we're gonna have to keep on plugging along here. One of the things I'm going to do today is I'm going to get that bolster back out over here. I forgot all about the fact that the controller actually sticks through the bolster at one point. So I need to get it back on, kind of exactly where it needs to be, and then go ahead and trace out where the actual controller goes. That way I can use the pattern from the controller on the back of the board and basically trace out where the hole goes through. So that's one thing. And then of course, you know, there's all kinds of things. Like, you know, what has it been, 5-6 days now I've been saying I need to polyurethane these pieces. Well, they're still sitting here. Earlier I kicked one. Wasn't happy about that. I was thinking I probably should get some polyurethane on these damn pieces. So off we go. Well, we don't have a lot of insanely fun things to report. Didn't drop a motor in or anything, but of course we are making progress. We went ahead and got all our bolts installed in our backer boards here for our bolsters. And yeah, letting that liquid nail dry up before I take them downstairs and have them have a chance to actually get on my carpet. Along with that, I took this one back in the boat there for a while. After about a half hour, I had all the markings of where the controller actually bolts up at. From there, I had to go take the old controller apart, do a pattern off of it to where the old bolt holes are, and also where the center cuts out at, so it actually comes through the upholstery with the handle, so you can control the actual control stuff. Well, that's done. As I said, all those steps, everything else, you don't want to do it wrong because it's not going to be right forever. And from there, we went ahead and we started doing some poly coats on our accent pieces. Yeah, I just need to get these things out of the way. They've been sitting right in the doorway and I keep stepping over them and doing a garage shuffle, and even kicked them once or twice. So I'm going to get these finished up, probably 4 or 5 coats. About the same thing I used on the dashboard over here. And the dashboard's not like it's been dipped in epoxy or anything. You still can feel a little bit of that grain, but you can't, like, you know, get your fingernails in between it, or you can't just like rub on it and make the grain kind of rub off. You know, it's deep enough, but it's not overly deep. And last but not least, as I'm trying to figure out which direction I'm going in, I went ahead and I made myself up a bit of a list here, and it's kind of like the big thing direction basically. And we have some motor box build, install motor, you know, that's a pretty big project by itself. But at the same time, there's a few things on here like steering complete. Well, that's steering wheel pretty much. We got some wet sanding to do around the edge of where the white meets up the black. We've known this. It's just something I haven't wanted to fool with. Probably do it next spring, who knows. You know, stuff like rub rail, that's a day or so. I mean, it's not like life-ending projects, but at the same time, there's some big money projects here. Like that rub rail, $600. $600. And I know people in the business too, both sellers and, you know, distributors, and $600. Welcome to another day. We are really running out of things. Our pile is dwindled down to nothing but necessary parts of future installs. Like a lot of this is bell housing stuff. That's actually a boot for the bell housing to the actual drive itself. Over here we have a few motor parts that have been sitting there waiting for our attention. Not sure what I'm going to do about exhaust tips yet. Those are 3-inch. I'd really like to go 4-inch. And as I said, I really want to know where the motor sits, so the exhaust comes out perfect. And the reason I say that is because mine sits like that, and I'm telling you, if I could have changed it 2 or 3 inches, just a little bit this way, a little bit up, it would have been almost a straight shot off of my 496 exhaust. But now I got this little S-turn in it. It's nothing, it's obstructive. I mean, it's all 4-inch, but you know, it was a bit of a pain to get all those angles because those big rubber elbows, you know, they need so much room. Even when you get the short ones, they still need so much room. Well, I had about half as much room as needed. So I really don't know what I'm doing about exhaust. I mean, it's a whole crapshoot. I mean, if I ended up like Kodiak's or friggin' stainless, it could be someplace else, So I'm really getting the impression that exhaust may be one of the last things that actually gets done on this boat, or at least the cutouts for them. I mean, like the very last, like motor sitting in place, exhaust manifolds are on, and I have the exact angle kind of thing. So we're holding off on that. But that's a little bit of rambling on. Something that did come in today is these guys here. These are our courtesy lights, or what a lot of people would say is license plate, I don't know, license plate lights, I guess. They're exactly the same as the old ones. You know, that's what they used. The two in front actually go up underneath the dash anyway, you don't even see them. But these two back here actually are what mounts to these two accent pieces that we finished yesterday. And that's all great because now we can actually install them where they belong on the pieces and not have to worry about taking them back off again. See, there's a plan somewhere. I didn't expect these lights to show up today. I didn't expect them to show up this week. And the reality is I really didn't even expect them to show up this month. I mean, it was just, you know, sometimes it's like, you know, you order these things, like I said, from Amazon. Apparently they've cracked down recently. And they are kind of like doing away with a lot of these foreign manufacturers that make all these promises that actually they can't keep up with, because people are getting mad about it. I mean, you see it and it's like, yeah, it'll ship and it'll be at your house in like 6 days unless you pay for Prime and everything else, but it's not even eligible for Prime. And then bam, it turns out they send you a notice and it's like, yeah, it's shipped, but it'll be another 4 weeks before it gets there. You know, so it's getting a little old, but it's here. Or they're here, and the pieces are done, so there's absolutely no reason at all not to do them. Along with that, it gets rid of them, and it gets rid of those pieces, and I even get less and less of things to do. Along with that, I wish I could show you all the time I spent on like eBay and all the rest of the sites, researching and finding and looking and searching through my old notes on other boat builds and what I've done on those. Last night I went searching for a critical part. I'm going to leave it unnamed until it actually appears, but I went searching for a critical part. I've looked off and on, and yeah, you know, you did the original part number, you did this number, you did that number, you did the name, you did it this way, you did that way, and for some reason, nagging reason, I mean, it was nagging too, I mean, because I had other things I wanted to play with, and I had a game I wanted to play, and all the rest of it. And I was just running out of time. It was getting later and later. And I just thought, I've got to look this way. I've got to look that way. And I've got to look this way. Which I knew was going to bring up an insane amount of hits when it did. But you'll get every, I don't know, anybody who ever listed anything for that part on eBay. Or anything close to it. And I found a listing. And all it was is, the listing was just even trash too. I mean, it was just horrible. It shouldn't sell anything. And the listing was, I have 2 of these generic term, i.e. say Kleenex. You know, even though I was looking for a specific Scott's brand, you know, quilted. Yeah, it was just Kleenex. Or I have 2 of these Xeroxes, you know. And it's like, no, I'm looking for this certain printer. You know, and that's all the listing was. Well, I took a look at the picture just out of curiosity. Another nagging feeling to go look at it. It was one that I actually passed and went back and looked at it and thought, all right, open it up. It's just so you know that it's not what you think it may be. And I opened it up, and there it was. 2 of them of exactly what I needed, right down to the part number. And the guy was listing them, as I said. We'll see when it gets here, as my fingers are crossed after the whole reason we're looking at this transom shield right now is because of the nightmare I went through with it. But this guy's in Virginia, which it makes it close to us, so shipping was insanely cheap. And then on top of that, he had 2 of them, so I made an offer at half of his price for 1, and he jumped on it. I mean, like, jumped on it. And the going price for these objects are about triple right now for some reason. I just think that people have the market cornered or whatever. I mean, I almost would have been smart to actually pick up both of them and then put the other one back up for sale, and I probably could have made a couple $100 after the whole thing was said and done. It's pretty sad. We went ahead and got our lights installed. Got one back here, of course, on our accent piece, one up underneath the bow here on that side, of course. Another one on this side, over there, and one back down there, which we haven't finished installing yet. We've still got some touch up we want to do. We had to take a little bit off the wood, Not going to leave it raw wood. I'm going to go ahead and stain it, put a coat of poly on it at least before I finish installing it. But it's all done. It's all wired up and ready to go. So we're just waiting for things to dry. Now I got to go clean up everything from wood to electric, which is a lot of tools, as you can see. And then we'll move on to the next thing. I mean, I normally wouldn't worry about cleaning everything off. You know, I'm not obsessive like that after every little tiny project, but there's a good 50-50 chance that we are due some rain right about now and for the rest of the afternoon. So, you know, you got to be cautious. Got to be ready. You know, I mean, it's around here and it's been like this all day long. Nothing happened. Then just sprinkle, oh, no big deal. And then 2 seconds later, it's a complete downpour. So we got to be ready, got to be on our toes, and we don't need this stuff anymore anyway, so off it goes. See what happens when the UPS guy is late. I do foolish things like get my trim system running and blow transmission fluid all over the place. Full disclosure as usual, Mark didn't tighten up this line right there, and I heard something. I was like, it would run and it would like, take off, and I was like, okay, I gotta go check this out. Got out from underneath the bow, rolled back here, and yeah, had myself a small, I don't know, oil well or transmission fluid well. And yeah, we still got some wiping up and cleaning up to do. And just like that, it started to rain. UPS guy showed up and it was like the pinnacle of the whole thing. It was like, yeah, the trim pump's working, everything's working, this is awesome. And all of a sudden it was like, I hear something. Sadly, I just took my jump box in and I was going to use it like a defibrillator basically, and we were going to jump start this dog to life. Even without a motor, we can keep him on machines and alive until we get its motor back in, or its heart. And yeah, we got the whole electrical system running. The only thing I'm a little curious about is my gas gauge went to full. I don't know, I may actually have to replace it, and I'm not too keen on that, but we'll see how that works out. I'm not really sure. Maybe I got something reversed. I didn't have a chance to actually look it over. But, geez, it's getting late enough now that if it starts to rain here, it's pretty much a done night. So I'm going to tie this thing down. I got everything unhooked inside for now. I'm going to go ahead and tie this down and see what's in these pretty little boxes right here. Well, it don't look like it's going to let up for us, so we're just going to call it a night. We did get a couple packages in. One we can complete, the other one was still in progress. Yes, we have a white steering wheel. Going back with the original. Yeah, baby. And our new controller came in. Nice thing about the steering wheel is we actually have the hub and everything that goes with it. It's ready for install tomorrow. Thing about the controller is we don't have our new cables. Yeah, and you want to make sure those cables are installed before you actually install it. So I guess you could do it from behind, but you know, why would I? That would be a very trying experience, I'm sure. But with that, that's pretty much a done night for me, and I will see you all tomorrow. What do we got going on today? Anything? Put a couple layers of 3/4 inch chop strand, I guess it is. I think it's 3/4 inch. I went ahead and I put in a couple layers of I believe it's 3/4 ounce chop strand, or is it 1.5 ounces? It's 1.5 ounces. Or was it? I don't know. All right, let's start at the hole. We put 2 layers on. How many times can I do the same thing? Oh well. As I'm digging around, I'm like, holy cow, this is bad news. Do re mi fa la di so. Okay, so then we'll just click out of that. Let's do that again. Okay, yes, I can speak now. Now let's do that again. Okay, let's try this one more time.